begin. Guard over $7,500. Nick, let's start with you. And I just want to throw out, what do you think of Fred VanVleet tonight? I like him.
I like Fred VanVleet coming into the season. I've been a little bit scared off by how he's looked and how that Toronto team has looked in the early going, but he's not on my list. I got to be honest. I like Malcolm Brogdon at 7,900 tonight. A kind of a guy who's been a little iffy in season-long leagues because you worry about the injuries, but for DFS purposes, if he's active, fire him up. He's played 40, 44, and 41 minutes in the Pacers' 3 games thus far, 45-plus DraftKings points in all 3 of those. No Drew Holiday for Milwaukee. It sounds like he's doubtful, already dealing with what seems like his second injury in 3 games for the Milwaukee Bucks. So that takes away the number one guy in the league you probably don't want guarding you if you're Malcolm Brogdon. I think this is going to end up being a friendlier matchup for him than it maybe looked like it would be a few days ago.
Kenny, who stands out to you?
I really like LaMelo Ball here, and I like this game between the Hornets and the Celtics. He's not going to be the only person that I like here. But this is a pace-up game. The Hornets are 4th in pace in the early going. The Celtics are 11th. And when you look at LaMelo Ball's performance, I know it's not the best matchup here, but you have to look at the usage. You have to look at the performance here. 33.8% usage rate in the first game of the season, around 30% in the last game that they played. They've only played 3 games. But this, obviously is a really talented guard, a guy that's going to get a ton of the ball. He's going to take a ton of shots. And I really like what the Hornets have been able to do on offense so far. So I think that despite the fact that in the first few games of the season, the Celtics have ranked or rated highly in defense, I do think that they're a little vulnerable here. And I think that this matchup against the Hornets could turn into a high-scoring one.
Kenny, let's go to a forward over $7,500. I know you said you're not done with that game, so unless you're talking about Brown or Tatum here, I'm assuming you're saving that game for one of the value spots we'll get to. Who do you like?
No, I am. I do like Jason Tatum. Once again, I'm ready to fire up. 61 true shooting percentage in his last 2 games, and I know that opening night I was in the arena. He didn't look too good against the Knicks, but since then he's been outstanding. And you want to talk about a guy that's going to get a lot of the ball, a lot of usage. Jason Tatum is the entire offense, or almost the entire offense for the Boston Celtics, and up over 33%. So I would expect him to be at anyway in terms of the usage rate. So I think that this is a good matchup. And on the other side of the thing, or on the other side of this game, on the other side of the coin, whatever cliche you want to throw in there, the Hornets aren't as strong defensively as the Celtics, or at least aren't expected to be. And he gets to go up against Gordon Hayward, his former teammate. There's a great revenge narrative there. I do think that Jason Tatum goes off and has a nice game.
Nick, he's way more than 7,500. Is it lazy to say Giannis? I mean, he's in a great spot against Indy.
He is in a good spot. Again, no Brook Lopez for Milwaukee, likely no Drew Holiday. So I think you're totally justifiable throwing Giannis in the lineup tonight. If you want to go away from Giannis, I like Paul George at just over 10,000. He's coming off of a 66 DraftKings point game. I think Domantas Sabonis on the other side of that Milwaukee-Indiana matchup. No Brook Lopez, I think, helps him out. He's at 9,900. Brandon Ingram's a really safe option. I think at 8,300, he's already up $600 in price relative to opening night. But the guy I thought Kenny was going to talk about is Miles Bridges at 7,100 against Boston, kind of the alley-oop lob partner for LaMelo Ball. Back-to-back 30-point games for Miles Bridges. This was a guy that we didn't even know if he was going to be in the starting lineup coming into the season. And he's playing a ton of minutes. He's been 33-plus minutes in all 3 of their games so far, really solidified himself as a key piece and kind of made P.J. Washington seem like a bit of an afterthought.
So one end of the spectrum to the other, we'll go guards under 5K, Nick, and there are a lot of options here. In fact, you could make the case some of the best ones are in like the $3,500 range.
Yeah, and I'll go to a guy right away who's at exactly $3,500, and that's George Hill. I'm going to keep hammering the no Drew Holiday narrative for Milwaukee. This is a team that when everybody's healthy, they seem really deep. All of a sudden you take away a few pieces and you're down to, a veteran guard who you kind of brought back on a feel-good contract. But George Hill's probably going to play a lot of minutes for Milwaukee tonight. He was up over 20 DraftKings points in their last game, which Holiday missed. I think Grayson Allen at 4,600 for Milwaukee makes some sense given the injury situation there. And if you really want to save money, I think ANFERNEE Simons at 3,600. I know we're going on like year 4 of like, this is the ANFERNEE Simons breakout year, but Portland needs to get something from him. He's kind of their 3rd, 4th guard right now. Sounds like Norman Powell won't play in that game tonight. So maybe some increased opportunity for Simons.
You can put Jeremy Lamb, Luke Kennard, guys like that in there too, Kenny. Who do you like? Guard sub 5K.
Yeah, well, Nick throws out 6 names. Of course, one of them is going to be my guy. I was going to talk about ANFERNEE Simons here at $3,600. I think this is a really good price. He mentioned Norman Powell. Norman Powell is out. Tony Snell is out as well. And, really all there is behind CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard is Ben McLemore. And I think that Anfernee Simons is better than Ben McLemore. I also think that the Blazers would decide to go small here, maybe throw a 3-guard lineup out there and get Simons in the mix. And I think they'd be pretty wise to. He's a good defender. He's a very, very good shooter. I love the confidence that this kid plays with. I know that we've been waiting a while for his breakout, but, so far, so good this year, 14 points per game. And when you look at this matchup, I'm a big Clippers fan. I love the Clippers, right? You remember last postseason, I waxed poetic about the Clippers, but we have to pivot quickly in today's world, and especially when there's money on the line, right? The Clippers defense hasn't looked so good in the early going. It could be good. Sure, it will be good by the end of the season. But so far, this is not one of the best three-point shooting defenses that we saw from last year. So I think that there's an opportunity for Simons to knock a few down, to get some DraftKings fantasy points. And I do think that he is a very exciting value option.
You've each got about 15 seconds. A forward or center under 5K. Kenny.
Not going to be very exciting, but $4,300. Naz Reid, Pelicans, third most points in the paint allowed, can't defend inside. And I think he's going to get some minutes and just good cash game option there.
What do you think, Nick?
Precious Achiuwa, 4,500 against Chicago. He's got 40 and 31 DraftKings points over his last 2 games. Played 33 minutes against Dallas on Saturday. Nick Nurse, we're 3 games into the year. He's already publicly trashing Chris Boucher. I think Achiuwa has that center job to hold, at least for the time being.